Hey everybody. I figure we've given it 5 minutes now, so it's about time to start. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of kick things off here. My name's Derek Yu. I'm the CEO of PureStake. We're the team building Moonbeam. Thanks to everyone here who is joining us here at our conference. This is actually our first conference like this, our first kind of bigger get together, the first of many more to come, but this is our first one. And we have an exciting lineup of demos and panels for all of you today related to Moonbeam. And I wanted to kick this event off. I know that I can see even from some of the questions, I know that there may be some relatively new people in the audience who may not know that much about Moonbeam. So let me start with the question: what is Moonbeam? And so what Moonbeam is an Ethereum compatible smart contract platform. And our goal is to provide the best and easiest to use developer platform for building multi-chain applications. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that means, like what multi-chain applications are. But with these goals in mind, it really made a ton of sense for us to be part of both the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems and networks. And that's where we're going to be deploying Moonbeam as parachains to both Polkadot and to Kusama, actually Kusama first. We've been working pretty hard on our readiness plans for our deployment to Kusama. It's called Moon River. That's going to be the first of the two networks that are being launched this year. And I'll give you some more kind of details and updates on where we are with that. But before going into that, I wanted to give a little color on just our motivations, kind of what it is that that motivates us and drives us. And so the question is, why did we build Moonbeam? Why did we do that in the first place? And for us, the motivation to work on Moonbeam is pretty straightforward. We're motivated by the idea that we're just at the right time and the right place for our work to really have a significant impact on driving forward the Web3 technology stack and kind of vision. And I would just reflect here when I talk to people about this. I say, you don't get a lot of opportunities like this in your life. I'm old enough where I experienced this once before at the beginning of my career. When the first internet wave was happening, and I remember back then it was so kind of clear, even though I saw it early on, that was the internet was going to change everything, right? Everything that I knew was going to change as a result. And when you see something early like that, it kind of like burns inside of you. It compels you to be involved. Back then I was kind of too young and inexperienced to make much of the opportunity, but and for most people, that would be it, right? You kind of have one chance to be at the beginning of something kind of incredibly special like that, and that might be it. But now, like, we've had this, there's this like second chance, I would say, right? There's like a second, for a second time in my career, I'm kind of in a place where, I'm at the big, you can see that there's a technology here that's going to change everything, right? I mean, it's clear to me that even though it's early days, the Web3 approach, to building applications is going to be as large an agent of change as the internet was, changing the way people organize and coordinate financially in a software native way. And so, yeah, Moonbeam is our contribution to helping to drive that change forward. And so, we've made a ton of progress on the project. We started the project back in 2019, so we've been at this, a while now. The original idea, was born from working with Substrate, so working in the Polkadot ecosystem, working with Substrate. I think what we realized was that Substrate on the one hand is incredibly powerful, right? So this is an incredibly powerful, framework for building blockchains. And, I think many of, future blockchain projects, if not most of them, will be built using Substrate. I mean, there's kind of no reason to build a blockchain from scratch when you have a framework like Substrate. But, at the same time, we realized that while Substrate was quite powerful, it also was not necessarily going to be a good fit for all teams. And it is still, lower level. You're still doing kind of low level infrastructure work. So, we realized it wasn't going to be a good fit for everyone, and that there was a very important kind of capability to provide within Polkadot to provide this kind of more a higher level, kind of more smart contract-like platform. And so that's what we set out to build, was this kind of smart contract-like platform that would be a parachain on Polkadot. And yeah, I think that even within that idea, we were kind of big believers in this Ethereum approach. That's something that was quite interesting to us, because by taking this Ethereum compatible approach, we can leverage all of the great work and this developer tool chain that's kind of been worked on for many years from the Ethereum ecosystem. So I think that was quite attractive to us, and so we started working on this. Right, we started working on a substrate implementation of Ethereum. We started off building some of the key pieces that were missing. In particular, there was this whole Web3 RPC layer was missing. So we got a grant from the Web3 Foundation to work on that. And ultimately, a lot of this work, in fact, most of the work that we've done has been put into a repository called Frontier. We've collaborated, quite closely with Parity on this work, and this Ethereum compatibility work and substrate has gone into Frontier, and I think that's turned into something pretty genuinely useful. We can tell because there's many people seeking to use Frontier at this point, which I think is a testament to the utility of the work we've done. Last year we launched our Moonbase Alpha testnet in September, which is a full parachain based environment with a relay chain, validators, collators, parachain, and the full kind of environment. And we've been working on this Moonbase Alpha testnet now for quite some time. We're working on the 8th major update to that environment right now. So there's been a number of important features and other improvements added since September to our Moonbase Alpha testnet. And now with our 8th update, we're kind of preparing ourselves for the Moon River launch that's upcoming. Yeah, I think we're to give you further updates kind of on where we are just initiating our security audits now. Multiple security audits will be taking place in the coming weeks. So that's an important kind of activity for us to kind of carry out pre-launch. And what we expect to see is, we expect to see the statement public goods parachain. That's one of the next steps we expect to see going live. After that, this is on Kusama. After that, auctions may start. It's a little unclear whether auctions will start at first maybe without crowd loan support, and then maybe crowd loan support will be added. The timing of that's still not entirely clear, but auctions will be following shortly after these first public good parachains launch. And yeah, I think that we're kind of getting ourselves into this state of readiness so that we can participate in those initial auctions as soon as they have crowd loan supports as part of our Moon River plans. So it's exciting times for sure. And yeah, just to kind of give a few other updates here, on the community side, we launched an ambassador program in January, and this is growing rapidly. I mean, since January, we've had over 1,500 applicants. I think we have about 600 ambassadors now. They've translated content into 13 different languages. So, a ton of activity and engagement has happened, in the last few months on that end. On the node runner side, we have over 300 independent node operators supporting our Moonbase Alpha testnet, which is amazing. And, we have, 30 or so announced partners, many of whom you'll hear from today. And, those partners, that doesn't include probably near 100 or over 100 other conversations that are underway with teams discussing what a Moonbeam based deployment would look like. So I mean, we've just been blown away by the engagement from all of these different angles and the community building that's kind of happening around Moonbeam. It's really awesome. Just awesome to see. And just to give you guys a sense of what we're seeing in the market. We are seeing this, some important shifts happen, which I think are actually playing to our favor. So, one shift, I would say that even if you go back, 6 months ago, most teams were still focused on what I'd call a monochain deployment, right? I mean, they were choosing a blockchain and they were deploying their applications to it. I mean, often that was Ethereum, right, as the kind of default, option. But what's happened and accelerated over the last 6 months is that almost everyone at this point is pursuing or at least planning what a multi-chain deployment could look like. And in particular, a lot of teams are pursuing what I would call an EVM-targeted multi-chain deployment strategy. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you basically are going to deploy to multiple blockchains, but by targeting EVM compatible blockchains, you get this benefit where you can just write your code once, and you can deploy that same code multiple times, to different target blockchains. And so we see several different patterns here, but chains that are often kind of in the mix are Ethereum, of course, Polygon to some extent, BSC to some extent, and then Moonbeam as a way to deploy to Polkadot. Polkadot being, from our perspective, the most important developer ecosystem, outside of Ethereum. And so there's a lot of interest in deploying to Polkadot these days. And if you have an existing Ethereum style code base, I think Moonbeam is we're a natural partner. Moonbeam is a natural kind of platform to partner with to deploy that code. And so we're pretty excited by that, and we're excited in particular about a lot of the traction we're seeing in particular areas. I'd highlight that the DeFi sector is something where there's quite a number of projects that are pursuing Moonbeam-based deployments, that are coming from that end, and I see basically a whole DeFi ecosystem forming on Moonbeam. Right, there's going to be an entire kind of economy that's being launched on Moonbeam that's part of the greater Polkadot economy, and so that's kind of an incredible thing when you think about it. It's pretty exciting. And so just to give you some sense, a couple other things I wanted to highlight, for everyone, to give you a sense of just what our strategy, what the strategy is here, right? This is something that is not secret. Our strategy is to be a pure infrastructure platform, right? We want to, we don't have minimal kind of end user facing, applications or features. The idea is that we want really to be an enabling platform, right? To enable the partners that are deploying to Moonbeam to be able to create those applications, right? And to not kind of compete with them. We want to support for now this kind of EVM targeted multi-chain deployment strategy that we see a lot of teams pursuing. But at the same time, we want to kind of set ourselves up for what we believe are going to be a new kinds of multi-chain applications that are uniquely enabled by Polkadot. Right, Polkadot has this interoperability built into it, and there's going to be kind of new kinds of multi-chain applications that are Polkadot native that are going to be quite powerful. And for example, if you watch Josh Yenomar's presentation later today, you'll see one of the integration patterns we'll be using, these special precompiles that look like standard smart contracts from an Ethereum perspective, but actually under the hood are powered by substrate functionality that can include things like cross-chain actions that would happen on Polkadot. So that's an extremely kind of powerful technique that we have big plans for. But yeah, I think in general, the thing I would leave you with is that the builder or the developer is kind of the thing that a lot of our own energy is focused on. That's the most important kind of thing for us, is to make sure that developers and builders are successful when they kind of use Moonbeam. And to give you some examples, right? Many of our early partners needed Oracle data feeds. Okay, well then that helped us know that we should prioritize integrations with oracles. So oracles like Chainlink, Band, and other providers that we've brought on board. Some of the developers working with Moonbeam said that they wanted block explorers that had kind of EVM awareness in them, right? So they could kind of understand, inside of the EVM execution stack. Okay, so then we went and added debug RPCs to our nodes, and are supporting now some block explorer options that provide that level of visibility. Some of our partners told us they wanted support for indexing solutions to make queries faster and to provide better user experiences. So we implemented again these required kind of tracing RPCs in the underlying Moonbeam nodes, and are working with partners. You'll hear later on from our partner Covalent, as well as the Graph, to provide those kinds of capabilities. And so, yeah, the list goes on. When we're getting questions, we're turning a lot of those questions into content or documentation on our site so that other people can benefit from the answers, developers. And yeah, so the point is that we're developers and their engagement with them are driving a lot of our own efforts, and a lot of our roadmap, right, is to kind of make sure that developers can be successful when they're deploying, kind of working with Moonbeam. We're listening quite carefully to feedback that they have and kind of acting on it. But yeah, I'd say that I've spent enough time talking about about us and kind of our plans, because really our story is only a small part of the overall Moonbeam story, right? The Moonbeam story is much larger than just us and what we're doing. I mean, the Moonbeam story is about all of you. I mean, it's about our community members, our ambassadors, like all of our node runners that are helping support our networks, our partners, and especially the developers that are building applications and developer infrastructure on Moonbeam. In the end, Moonbeam is an enabling technology, right? It's a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. Our role in this story, in this Web3 story, this broader Web3 story, is a supporting one. It's the developers and the builders that are building applications. Those are the ones that are going to change the way the world works with their software. And so that's why today we wanted to specifically focus on these builder partners. And we have a full program today highlighting many of these partners and community members. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the event and see and come away with a sense of the ecosystem that's building around Moonbeam.